The Green Bay Packers are taking on the Minnesota Vikings this week in a matchup that could decide a lot. If the Packers win this game and they win out, they could ostensibly go all the way to up to the number 5 seed. The Vikings literally do need to win out. Or now, if they do win out, they would take the number 1 overall seed. That's not likely to happen because they're not going to beat the Lions next week. So the Packers can do the Lions a big favor and by beating the Vikings this week, which I think is a really good possibility. I know there are a lot of Vikings fans out there that say, "Oh, we beat you week 4, we beat you down." It's like, yeah, well, you almost lost in an onside kick. So yeah, the Packers, even with a gimpy, hobbled Jordan Love, nearly beat you in the second half. And again, I know the Vikings will say, well, we wouldn't have had that fumble on the punt return. You never would have returned. Well, you still fumbled the punt on the punt return. Just as simple as that. But let's get through this. Let me know what you think down in the comments, Will. And let's get to this game because it is going to be rocking in USA Bank Stadium. And the Vikings, I'm sure, are going to be tooting their fucking horn, and chanting their stupid skull chant, which again has nothing to do with the Vikings. It's just a stupid made-up thing for marketing purposes. But the Packers are looking great. Jordan Love has been great the last 5 weeks. He's been excellent. Only throwing like 1 interception, and he is up to around 25 and 11 in terms of touchdown to interception ratio. He is number 1 against the blitz. The Packers as a team are number 1 against or defending the blitz. And guess which team blitzes more than anybody? The Minnesota Vikings. Now, yes, Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator, being able to scheme and disguise a lot of his coverages and blitzes for sure. But considering how good the Packers have been against the blitz, I think they should be able to hold up just fine. And better yet, this time they'll be not only being well against the blitz, but also Jordan Love is able to evade. He's not injured. He's not hobbled. He should be able to tear that defense apart. I mean, look what the Seattle Seahawks did to the Vikings defense last week. The Vikings were nearly close to losing, which would have really put a dent in their playoff. Well, I mean, they still would have made the playoffs if they had lost last week, but the thought of them losing 3 weeks in a row to end the season would have put a big, big dinger on their season. But talk about the Vikings a little bit. Sam Darnold has been pretty good, but let's be honest, if there is one shining, glaring weakness on the Minnesota Vikings, it is Sam Darnold. He's never played in the playoffs, and I think his style of play could very well be susceptible to interceptions, fumbles, and just overall bad play when it comes to the playoffs. Because we all know the Vikings have failed in the playoffs. How many times? Many, too many times to count have they failed in the playoffs with nothing to show for it. Aaron Jones is still a great running back. Still, every now and then has a fumbling issue, but lately that has not been the case. And he's been healthy, so that helps a lot. Their offensive line has been kind of a patchwork, but overall still a pretty good offensive line. Justin Jefferson, one of the best in the league. Jordan Addison is a great number 2. DJ Hawkinson, not the best tight end overall, but he is able to give you some good moments as well. Now, the Vikings defense, Andrew Van Ginkel is a great underrated defensive back. Harrison Smith is one of the best to ever do it at his position, and they have a couple other guys. Grenard has been great, has been a great addition to the defensive line as well. And just the Vikings defense has been great for most of the year. There's nothing to it. But I mean, like I said, they are the number 1 blitzing team in the NFL. But like I said, the Packers have been the number 1 against the blitz. Now, we're going to see which one gives away. But I think the Packers offensive line will stand tall because they've basically been a cohesive unit more or less for basically every game except one this whole year, which is incredible to have that kind of consistency on the offensive line. Most teams would die to have that consistency. So anybody that says the Packers offensive line is average, they're not. Just look at the stats. They're one of the best in the league. And if the Packers are going to win at all, that offensive line is going to have to continue standing strong. Jordan Love, like I said, been great. I believe he's up to 25 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. He's been fantastic. He hasn't thrown an interception in like 4 games, and he's look the part. Yes, the competition level has been lacking. Oh, but doesn't mean that the Packers can't win. These Vikings fans think the Vikings are this indestructible unit. They think every year, oh my God, we do good. We're gonna finally do it. And it's like, no, you're never gonna do it. Your team's cursed. You're going to, if you somehow win this week, you're gonna lose against Detroit next week. So regardless, the Vikings are not going to win the number one overall seed. And I know you Viking fans out there that may watch this video are probably going to be seething and laughing. It's like, haha, Packers aren't going to beat the Vikings. Yeah, well, you said that last year when you won in Green Bay. And look what happened in Minnesota. We kicked your fucking ass in Minnesota. And we're going to do it again. Because I think when it's all said and done, the Packers are going to win 34-27. But more about the Packers offense. Packers been great switching up and getting running backs carries. Josh Jacobs still getting the lion's share of the carries for sure, and he's the number one stud running back on the team for sure. But Emmanuel Wilson has been able to get really good carries. Chris Brooks is 36 years old and he's mowing through guys left and right. Yes, he was against the Saints, but even when he's not against the Saints, Chris Brooks has been able to get some good carries that average around 4 to 5 yards. 4 to 5 yards for your third string running back is huge. Most teams would kill for a running back like that. Not every team has even a good backup running back that you can consistently switch out your number one and give reasonable, meaningful carries down at the end. Wide receivers. We'll see if Christian Watson is able to play. My bet is that he probably will. David Wicks, not the best overall, but I guess when you get in at within 1-2 yards from the red zone, then that is a really good option. Romeo Doubs, still probably the second best option out there. And Jaden Reed, great as well. I like how they've been mixing in Jaden Reed, getting some of those reverse runs. Those have been really nice. Now, the key is not to use them too much because Matt LaFleur does have the tendency to overuse the reverse, those trick plays. Use it once, but don't burn it right away. They worked against the Saints last week, but part of me doesn't understand why you do that against a team like the Saints. You don't we need to run vanilla offense to beat the Saints. The Saints are just that bad. But I'm sure Matt LaFleur is going to need to dig into his bag of tricks a little bit this week, and we'll see what he's able to come up with. And that offensive line, again, I'm going to say it again, has been fantastic against the blitz. They've been the number one team against the blitz all year, and teams continue to blitz them over and over, or maybe they may not be number one against blitz. I think they're one or two, and they've been great. They've been great at defending against blitz, and teams continue to blitz a team like the Packers. Like, why would you continue to blitz them when they're showing that they're so good at managing the blitz? But like I said, in the end, the Packers probably win this game. No, you Viking fans out there are probably angry, screaming, angry. Oh my God, then we're not going to lose to the Packers. No, the Packers are junk. We beat them once already. We'll beat them again. It's like, you beat the Packers with a hobbled Jordan Love, and the Packers still almost beat you. So, I know you're going to say, like, oh, it was close, but you still lost. Like, well, yeah, but still, we were down 27-3 at halftime and only lost by 2. So, Packers have a really good shot to win this week. I think more than likely they win, they pull it out, and if they win this week and then they win again, the Packers have a really good shot to get that number 5 seed, and for the Packers to potentially play at Tampa Bay or even better Atlanta over playing in Minnesota or Detroit or Philadelphia round 1 will be a huge boost. So Packers have everything to gain this game. The Vikings have everything to gain too. Like I said, if the Vikings win out, they are the number 1 overall seed. But remember how many times the Vikings have gotten the number 1 overall seed, and it hasn't gotten them anywhere. And they're playing the Lions next week, and yes, even though the Lions are hobbled and injured, they should be able to beat the Vikings just fine. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. The Packers are going to get the victory this Sunday, marking down 34-27, U.S. Bank Stadium, and Any Vikings fans can, you know, take it on the Archers. But let me know what you think down in the comments. We'll have a great day, and as always, go Pack Go, and God bless.